Uh, Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Advancing Your Career panel discussion, part of the Save Your Future Career Conference. Today's session is all about equipping you with the insight and strategy needed to thrive into the modern corporate landscape. Our goal today is to provide you with actionable advice on navigating the professional journey, handling workplace challenges, communicating effectively with diverse teams, and seizing career opportunities. Whether you're just starting out or looking to leveling up your career, the insights shared by our panelists will be invaluable. Now we are proud to have four remarkable individuals here with us today. The first amazing person I would like to introduce everyone is Miss Katie S. Moore. Please give her a round of applause. Katie is a director at PwC with over 14 years of professional experience in auditing service. Throughout her career, Katie has played a pivotal role as a trusted advisor, managing relationships with some of PwC's larger clients. Her career has been distinguished by the extensive expertise in serving a diverse portfolio of clients, ranging from large, complex public entities to private companies across various industries. Her profound knowledge in auditing under US GAAP as certified public accountant has been instrumental in digital transformation initiatives aimed at standardizing audit processes across multiple clients. Beyond her professional achievements, Katie is deeply committed to her family life. She resides in Linfield, Massachusetts with her husband and their two children, Aria, 2.5 years old, also in the room with us, and Kristen, 1 year old. She cherishes spending quality time with her family and friends and enjoy pursuits such as cooking, kickboxing, and reading during her leisure moments. So sitting next to Katie is another wonderful woman of our panelists, Miss Zhang Nguyen Sydney. Everyone please give a round of applause to her. So Zhang Nguyen is a talent acquisition and human resource leader with over 16 years of experience specializing in executive search and biotech industry. She's currently serves as a global HR business partner at Qiagen Digital Insight, a bioinformatics software division with Qiagen Science. In this capacity, Ceci works with senior executives and regional HR partners to develop and implement HR strategy and drive global business success. Previously at Qiagen, Ceci held various roles, including head of talent acquisitions for the Americas, where she revitalized the talent acquisition department. Her leadership was so important during significant milestones, including mergers and acquisitions and navigating the complexity of the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, we have Mr. Kim Pham. Everyone please give a round of applause to Mr. Kim Pham. Kim is a staff machine learning engineer at Meta, specialized in recommendation systems. In the past 6 years, with a diverse background spanning multiple teams, Kim has contributed to various content recommendation products, including Facebook News recommendation and suggested content in Facebook News feed. Most recently, Kim is driving the development of a real-time conversation and recommendation platform on the product team, holding a PhD in computer science from New York University's Engineering School. Kim interned at Los Alamos National Lab and IBM research. Before coming to the US, Kim spent 2 years at VCG and an internet startup in Vietnam as software engineer. And last but definitely not least, let's meet our moderator today, a young professional working in a brand marketing at Unilever International with over 2 years of experience in creative and multicultural marketing. Lynn has built her expertise in various functions, including brand management, marketing operations, and creative production, project management. Her diverse industry experience spans from FMCG to media entertainment. As a former international student with non-STEM degree, Lynn has demonstrated her resilience and determination in navigating the competitive and challenging landscape of the U.S. creative industry. Her ability to overcome obstacles and achieve initial success has been many view underscore her passion for storytelling, which resonates with diverse audience. I want to please give applause for Lindo and everyone in our panelists today. With further ado, let's listen to our panelists and hope you can learn more from it. Lynn, please take it away. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Ling and I will be the moderator for this panel. And thank you for our amazing panelists here. Please prepare your questions because we will have a very extensive discussion today. Before diving into different career advancing path strategies, we want to learn more about your career success and on an individual level. So I will start with the first question. Given your extensive experience in the workforce, what do you believe are the most critical aspects that professional people focus on to thrive in the current corporate environment? Please start off. Thank you so much for joining. First off, I'm thrilled to be here with you all. So the first question that you had, I think there are 5 approaches. First off, be excited about the work that you do. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy the people that you work for. Third, I would say, you want to create a brand for yourself and maintain that brand throughout. Fourth, I think it's equally as important to ensure that you see growth in the position that you're in. And lastly, stay competitive is very important. You don't want to stay stagnant, you want to continue to grow as individual specialty.
Hi everyone, this is my honors to meet everyone who's here and at the event. So my answer for that is based on my experience as a couple of things that I think important that I learned in the past few years of working. I think the most important thing that I learned that I didn't know about is how to understand what the team values, what is the team that you're working on values the most, what makes the company and the leadership company valuable. That is very important because no matter how hard you are working, if you are not doing the right thing and provide the right value to the company, it's very hard to really build that high impact. So for me, when I graduated, I was like really focused on more on what I want to do rather than what the company and the team. So it was my big lesson that I learned in a very few years. And then second thing is that you need to be reliable and be helpful for what you sign up for, and want to be able to develop that and demonstrate that and be knowledgeable. Be a much easier in progressing in career. Other thing I think it would be like keep constantly learning, teaching very fast, and without like ability to learn quickly and efficiently is very hard to keep track of what's going on. And the last thing would be to just be happy with people around you. So just more like the long-term things and equal things.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm very happy and honored to be here as well. So I can agree more with these two panelists. I think the most important, because everybody here, I believe, will agree with me that, especially these days, the corporate environment is extremely volatile. Changes happen every day at every level, country level, corporate level, department level. So being a valued employee is most important. You want to be someone every company wants to have. You want to be someone everybody wants to have for their team, so how to be that person? You just need to be, like Kian say, accountable, reliable. Whatever you are tasked to do it well. Don't settle for enough. Do more. And just show up to work every day. Don't gossip if you don't need to. Even unless you cannot move, you cannot talk. Show up for work because those attitude will count a lot as well. Be proactive in your career. So reach out to for help, or when the help comes, do your best and provide a solution. So I think the most important is you need to be driver of your career, and you just need to be really a valued employee that everybody, even within the very low economic, they need to lay off some people. They will not choose you because you are so valuable. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you for your all very thoughtful sharing. I have a follow-up question for all three. Let's start with Katie. You mentioned about like growth in your career and how to statement. I learned that from your journey before. I learned that you have stayed with PwC for most of your career. And however, it's very interesting to see that you have started in the corporate environment and then shift to a more of a startup initiative in PwC. So how can you say about that experience and how you grow, either in the working with teams or in the
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I speaking here louder? Okay, perfect. So that's a great question. So as you mentioned, I have spent my time at PwC for the majority of my career. However, I will say that I've been able to explore different avenues within PwC. So several different opportunities came about. So briefly to give you a background, I did start off in the tax internship in Boston before I moved over to core assurance within the Boston office. I spent about 4 to 5 years in Boston before making my way down to South Florida for about 5 years to expand on the asset management space. With that, I was, during that time frame, there was a change in realm amongst all companies. There was an increased effort of learning more about digitization and AI, automation, and PwC was one of those companies at the forefront of this initiative. So they created what was called Centers of Excellence, which helped to automate and standardize the audits. So although I was still helping out with the core assurance practice, I also got involved with the Centers of Excellence. And that provided me with the opportunity to assist with this initiative that was at the forefront of many companies at the time. So going back to your original question, I think that having mobility is very important within a company. So I suggest that when you are looking into your career, that the companies that you work for have that mobility. As you can see, I was able to move around within the company, and that's very important. I would say that having this opportunity, I started off in the asset management space, but now I have a background in working with health companies, technology companies, pharmaceutical companies. And all of those different cross-industries has really allowed me to see different perspectives. There were unique challenges and different approaches working among all of these various teams. I learned more about problem solving with people with different backgrounds, essentially. So I would say that having the opportunity to work cross-industry has allowed me to gain a more holistic view of how sectors operate and how they intersect. That's my question.
I'm sure not many people can have this experience, so hopefully you can take from Katie's experience to find an opportunity to move even within the company to learn more about different industries. Thank you so much. I have a follow-up question for you, Ian. As you mentioned, Ian has a very specific background, graduating from PhD, and you may know, like, in academia, I can imagine you work solely, sometimes as just on your own to do research, and I'm sure moving from that to the industry will have a lot of challenges. So can you share if you have considered rejoining the industry right away after graduating, or did you consider other options as well? And what could be some of the factors that might help in consideration?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, I think I decided to join industry like after offering the PhD. I think the main reason for me is I don't feel that I very strong or very now, even though like at the very beginning when I started the PhD, I wanted to become a professor, but like after 4 years, I don't feel that I have enough motivation and excitement for that. And like that's the case that really different from where you maybe you like having able to do that and be successful. So that main motivation to continue. And the second thing is also like my research is doing as well as I explained, and academic career is very demanding. And if your research is not in very good publications, and then your research topic is not like very training or very important, it's very hard to find academic jobs, especially in school. So that's one of like the main reasons. The other thing is for CS, graduating is pretty easy. Find a job, find a job like 6 years ago, so usually like find a number like job is very off.
So much. Thank you for your sharing. I think our audience can learn a lot about a little bit more about the PhD and academic career. I just want to ask. It seems like you have quite a lot of motivation or even like competitiveness in academia, and that's why you decided to come back to the industry. However, I want to learn, for example, like especially in your field of machine learning, is obtaining like a higher degree still important, especially because from my experience, a lot of people maybe graduating with data science or CS, if they want to head into fields like machine learning, they may want to like go ahead and do higher education in order to get a better job. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I heard a lot of this question from students that should I like, continue to master or PhD, and I think from what I observation from like what I've been working in data and meeting with a lot of friends in other different companies, I don't think it's necessary in general. Like for getting into machine learning related job, it's not necessary to obtain the master or PhD degree, but it's very important to be able to learn very fast and keep constantly learning new things. Because I don't see like doing more master degree if you already have good CS background and undergrad will be very much incremental to the job that you are doing in the industry. But like, if you are very unclear of what to do, then you might try to master a PhD so that you can have more options, and then it may open the bigger door for you to find a job. But I don't see that necessary. And give an example, like in a couple of teams that I've been working with Meta, it's only 1/3 of them having a PhD, and the rest is including a master or undergrad degrees. And a lot of like people, the high performance that I met, a lot of them also just have an undergrad degree. So I don't think it's necessary for the machine learning.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure many people here will have. Do you have a question? I think we'll be fast. We can hold the questions until the Q&A, so we can address all the panelists on together. Okay, awesome. Thank you again so much for sharing. I'm sure this is clear for a lot of people getting talking about past children, whether they're necessary or not, to have a higher degree. And on the topic of learning, I have a question for you, Jesse. And I would say I'm super impressed by the unconventional background, I would say. Like her background in humanities and then kind of more into some of the biotech industry. So, Jesse, can you share that to the audience? And you mentioned about being a valuable employee as well. I'm sure with your background, you can address to that and
Sure, sure, I would love to. But I would like to also share very quickly on the topic that Ken shared as well, because I'm an HR professional and I have the exposures to career paths of a lot of people. I know some what make them an average employees or some what make them excellent employees. So on the educational background alone, I can share that because my company, I'm working for a software company as well, Bioinformatics Software. So the current VP, the head of department, actually he has only a bachelor degree. And then he has so many master degree and PhD reporting to him. So that's what I can share. Okay, so back to your question. I would like to just, maybe if you don't look at me, you know that maybe I already have many years of work experience, but I want to just maybe segregate it in two parts of my career. So the first part was about 5 to 6 years in Vietnam, where I worked on several supporting roles in the hospitality and consumer industry for Nestle, for some of the like Marriott Hotel in Vietnam as well. And my HR career started 16 years ago when I moved to Singapore from Vietnam. So in 2004, I moved to Singapore from Vietnam with my family. And back then I didn't know what to do in my career because with 5, 6 years of experience in supporting roles, I didn't know how to continue. So I decided to go back to school. And in 2008, after 3 years, I got my second bachelor degree in marketing. And after I graduated, I asked myself, what would I want to continue from here? So I asked myself, I definitely don't want to retire on a supporting role. I want to develop a very specialized career, a role that I can make impact, big impact. I know that supporting role, you can make impact as well, but I want bigger impact. So I did some research and talking to people I know, and I realized that maybe some kind of career consulting role is something that I would like to venture into. People usually say law of attraction, and soon enough I got an offer for a executive search consultant for a top company executive search firm in Singapore. And I came into the job really with zero background in executive search or career consulting. So I needed to learn. The learning curve was really steep then. Because as a consultant, you need to be an expert in front of clients for them to pay a big dollar to buy your service. So it's a pressure for me to really learn as quick as possible. So I jumped into the role. I learned at whatever channels that I can. After a few weeks, I was put in front of the customers and of course act like an expert. So, and I moved on from then. I guess learning is really what make me stay in the role, because I have seen my coworker coming in and out. I stayed there for 7 years. 7 years in executive search company is kind of a long time. So, and for the first 5 years, I got 3 promotions. I joined as a consultant and I left as a practice leader. So in 2015, I moved to Singapore. I moved from Singapore to the US with my family again. Actually, my son is there. I was 29-year-old woman back then when I came to the US, and my son was 14. So 10 years ago. So again, I had to start my career all over again, but this time I had some very solid experience in recruiting. So definitely I need to leverage it. So, and because I'm in Boston, I wanted to work for biotech. I remember Zhang also talk about, you need to be in an area where there are demands. So, and I love science as well, even though I didn't study science, but I always have a love for science. And then biotech in Boston seemed to be, a prominent industry as well. So I focused on finding a recruiting job in biotech. So, and 2 weeks later, I got an offer for a recruiting partner for Kaizen, who is also my current employer. I have been with them for 9 years now. So again, I moved into the job with a lot of experience in recruiting, but I had zero experience in the US, zero experience in life science. And again, I jumped in, 29-year-old, was still young enough to really embark on a new learning journey. And again, I was so hungry learner. I learned from every aspect. I learned everywhere I can. I learned when I talk to my candidates, when I talk to my hiring managers, when I talk to my coworkers, when I learned on myself as well. And because a lot of the positions that I recruited for were R&D, and a lot of them are from PhD, in molecular biology, in data science, and whatnot. So I really went back to study molecular biology. And I still remember I have an office, and I always have a big bowl of chocolates, lit chocolates, so that I motivate my coworkers to come and stop by and have a chat with me and share with me about their experience and things like that. So after a few months, first few interview with the candidates, I understood their English, but I didn't understand what they were saying, because they talked all about the experiments, about biology, and about everything. So I learned quickly, and after a few months, I found myself very comfortable talking science with them, talking science with my hiring managers and candidates. I asked myself, was I requested or expected to learn that much? Honestly, I don't think they expect me as a recruiter to learn that much, but I just want to do, because I want to be a standout person. I want to gain respect from people. I don't think that I want to say, okay, she's just a recruiter, she just talk about salary, talk about career. I want to talk about science. I want to know about, be able to say, okay, bring a profile to my hiring manager, say, this person can do the job because of A, B, C, D, E, and things like that. So, and fast forward, I've been with the company for 9 years now. I moved from different position, and I expanded my role to HR. And actually, how I expanded my role is because at some point, 2 years in my career in recruiting, I just feel that I wanted to do more than just recruiting. Recruiting is part of HR. I wanted to do full-fledged HR. I raised my hand. I told my bosses that I want to expand into HR. I want to expand into a global role. And when the opportunity came, they gave it to me. And actually, I got 4 or 5 promotions right now, maybe. And all because I told them I wanted to do more. This is what I want to do. And right now, I'm the global HR business partner for the software business, one of the 3 businesses at Kaizen. And my role now is really partnering with the top executive leaders in the company to drive the people's strategies to help them to achieve business goals. So hopefully, I inspire people with learning. Really, there's no shortcut. You need to learn, hard work, and become someone who stands out in your job.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for your inspiring story. I'm sure many people here will be very motivated from now on to start or keep learning in order to achieve success like this. And thank you also, Katie and Ian, on sharing different strategies on how to navigate their success in their career. Moving forward, I think touching on things like asking mentioned about team members, or Katie mentioned, just effective communication process. I think touching on the effective communication with team stakeholders, especially, I would say in a very multicultural environment, is very important. So let's start with some questions. Jessica, again, as someone who has worked across Singapore, international, in the US, how have you think the differences, including language barrier, maybe contemporary with the US culture, have shaped your career and how you work?
Yeah, so I think in terms of cultural differences, I'm not only in cultural differences in the US, but also global because of the global role that I've been on. For the most part of my 9 years career at Kaizen, I must say being observant and respectful is very important. Whenever I was about to take on a role that involved new cultures, new markets, I usually read a lot about that, countries. And then, about the regulations, the local regulations, the culture, the special things about the country, about the people, and be observant whenever I talk to colleagues from different culture. Just need to be very communicative to them. Check with them and ask them the questions, and being respectful is very important as well. And you adjust your approach along the way. Yeah, and talking about the language barrier, honestly, I'm very lucky to be in the company, global company, but a German company. My CEO is a French. He has a very strong French accent, so my Vietnamese accent is nothing. So, and English with an accent in my company is so common, so I don't have any problem with that. I never felt less than any other English in my company, but one thing I need to say is that maybe some of you work in an American company with mostly American employees, and of course you feel a little bit, different. But I must say our Vietnamese accent is very understandable, so don't worry about it at all. Some other accents are not as clear as our accent, so don't worry at all. Be confident. The content is more important than the accent. So that's what I can share.
Thank you so much for your sharing. Next question would be from Ian. You also transitioned experience social-wise, so maybe showing strategy, which is that communication and collaboration, either with the US team or even cross-border.
I also have a bit of challenge in terms of communications and English when I moved to the US. I wasn't like, my English is actually very bad when I moved to the US. It is very hard for me to really even understand as well as my profession. So it took me a while to get better at that. And even like when I joined the company, it's still like a challenge for me because like as a student, I used to be like myself most of the time. Spend very little communication. So usually I try to learn bit harder than other communication from the project track course. I actually do a lot more interviews just because I want to interview other people in order to practice my communication skills. So that's one of that. But like in terms of like culturally, for me, I feel hard. I feel really in the field just because in machine learning and artificial intelligence in general, there's a lot more Asian people from outside US. So you are actually the majority. That is very interesting way that comes. A lot of people majority are very wrong, especially for machine learning and
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure many of you here can be, feel super relevant to get sharing and Jesse on our accent sometimes.
And just one thing, I think like if people here are like taking some CS degrees in school in the US, I can feel like there's a lot of people are using this and easier. Yeah.
I'm sure you will find the same. Thank you so much, Kian, for sharing. And Katie, I know you started your career here in the US from day one, but you have such a special experience managing people from different cultures. So I want to ask how, from a management standpoint, you foster that collaboration within your team.
Sure. So I think there are key strategies in order to foster this communication. Working in a multicultural environment, it's really important to incorporate these points. So first, I would say promote diversity. Embrace diversity. And that doesn't mean just understanding that there are diverse backgrounds. It means valuing the contributions that each individual can bring to the table. Secondly, gain awareness of cultural differences. So, for example, I work with a lot of team members located in India. And they have different cultures than, those living in America. That being aware of these different cultures is very important. At PwC, they actually held a session recently where they shared with our team their cultural differences, their culture, what they do to celebrate with each other. They're very close knit in terms of family. And with this, I was able to learn more about their teaching styles, how they like to be communicated. With folks from India, I learned that similar to us, they like to feel like they're making an impact, but they like others to know that they're making an impact too. So this could be through monetary or non-monetary awards, but also the recognition that they gain from the impact that they've contributed to the team, and it's very important to them. Next, I would say leverage the collaborative tools that are available, right? So there's a lot of tools out there now where you can have real-time feedback instantly. And I think being cognizant of the time differences is very important. So again, in my example with the folks I work from India, they have a 12 to 13 hour time difference. So if I'm booking a calendar invite where hearing their decisions and their feedback is important, I want them to be involved. And so I will book something that is at a time that is reasonable for them so they can be a part of that discussion as well. I think that the other thing that's really important is also just recognizing that you have to be clear in your expectations and responsibilities through, any different folks that you're working with. And so with that, you're able to minimize the miscommunication that might occur through language barriers and whatnot. And I think that embracing diversity in the different cultures will help folks be able to understand the contributions that they're able to provide to the table in order to achieve collective success.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I personally feel very relevant because I work across country and with a lot of people in the team as well. So they have different time zones, and I'm sure many of you here will experience the same and may take some of Katie's sharings for your own. Moving on, I want to have questions about, I think will be some hot topic here about on-site, remote, and recently hybrid working as well. So Kian or Katie, any one of you want to start on this? Do you think working culture, how do you think working culture has shifted, and will it affect anything within your team, within your experience in your career growth as well?
I could take that one first. So it's actually very interesting because I started off at PwC back in 2011. PwC, as many of you may know, I would have never expected that a hybrid or remote environment would exist. I started off in a company where you had to be there on time, and if you left a little bit earlier, even though you had nothing to do, it was kind of looked down upon. But then the Centers of Excellence came about, and the increase in flexibility and work-life balance shifted within the company. So I actually work remote right now, and I made my move from Florida to Boston. I work remote. I will say that there are challenges to working remote. It's not for everybody. You actually have to be very very disciplined, yes, in order to do so. You need to understand that there are, you need to be very stern in terms of determining when is your start and finish, and make it clear with your team members as well, so it's very transparent. So I'm actually a mother of two, so as they mentioned, so Arya actually sleeping in the front row right now. She's 2.5, and when she comes home from school, and my son, 1 year old, comes back home at about 6 o'clock, I know that I have the obligation and the responsibility to make sure that there's dinner on the table. I need to also make sure that I'm ready to put her to sleep, and but I want to spend time with her. So in order to incorporate play within all that is very important. And so I guess the point is you need to be very strict but transparent to your team members. Like I know, hey, I'm shutting off my computer at 6 p.m. If I have a deadline coming up, I'll know that maybe I'll turn on my computer after I put my children to sleep and continue to meet those deadlines. It's important that you can incorporate flexibility within your workings as someone working remote, but also be able to remain professional and still meet deadlines. So it's kind of like you have the ability to create your own schedules and do what you can in order to meet both your goals professionally and personally, I would say.
Thank you so much for sharing. I personally work remote, and I do need to work on my discipline, I would say. So growing up, like, others or further, I will have the ability to just like you. Ian, you take the question as well. I know that, remote working culture might actually start from tech industry, but now we encounter a lot of news about like return to office and why you may become angry. How has been your experience, and can you share some strategy that you can help us with that?
Yeah, I think it's also depend on so it's data is a little bit might be different. For example, what I see people usually that data actually are very highly motivated. So usually like people who we are not afraid of people who stay home and not disciplined and working. What we worry about is like more early people who are in early stage careers, they are not having enough support from near for. So that's why these people we still like encourage new grants or people in early stage careers to come to the office more often people like that. And for me particularly, I'm working on site. Mainly I think I'm one of the person and I'm also lucky that my wife has some support for my kids at home. So that's why I really chance to do that. Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't see like much of right now with the experience and very flexible on time or remote few interviews what the people before if they are remotely where am I trying to do can you speak louder really? And in my office, hi, can you put the mic Oh, okay. Sorry for that. I will try to speak louder.
Awesome. Thank you, Kian, so much for sharing. I'm sure after Kian sharing, also Katie as well. If you can, choose your path to pretend to be in office or remote if you have discipline. I personally currently remote. I'm a lot of people that. However, I do see some challenge and wish that I be in office from time to time. So thank you so much for your sharing. Jessie, I know you are very in a very special position as a job to speak about this topic. So I know you mentioned that this company there might not be a difference in performances, but do you see any differences in your company and just trend across company, across industry, and is there any tips or strategy you recommend people that they work in both or kind of a work situation to foster that path?
Yeah, so I would like to share, Katie and Kian already shared with you their experience, their perspective of the employees part of view, right? I would like to share the HR and from the managers because in my company, HR and managers working really closely together. So right now, my company already asks people to come back to the office 4 days a week. And what I want to start off with is, if you are an on-site employee, you hire as an on-site employee, I encourage you to stick to it. Really respect it, because you are hired as an on-site employee. You don't have a choice to be remote, because you are hired as on-site employees. Now, if you are a remote employee, like I know, like Katie, right, because you move, so you are 100% remote employees, I must say, being very disciplined with yourself and being clear to your team members, the people you work with, is very important. So actually it happened just recently in my company. We wanted to promote a global product manager who's currently a sole contributor based in Sweden. And after the promotion, he would be the head of global product management, and he will manage the team of 3. And all of these 3 are located in the west coast of the US. So 9 hours away from him. Why we picked him? Because he's rock star. He's really ready for that position. But the manager came to me and then we discussed it, and we had a really big concern about the 9 hours difference. We said, can he manage the team and with that 9 hours difference? So we talked to him, we shared with him our concern, and then in the end, what he suggested and what we really love is he says he will adjust his time. So he's also have a family. He will block his calendar from 6 to 8 his time for his family to have dinner with his family, and then he will come back to work when necessary. But he blocks his calendar so no one can even put a meeting within that hours. So, and because we look for sustainability and we say, you have to do that to be sustainable. Your family needs to support you for you to be a happy employee. So back to the on-site, I must say that there are a lot of benefits being on-site. I work three times in the office as well. I drive like 1.5 hours from Natick to Boston to the office, but I do so because, meeting with folks face to face is really important to build a network, to meet them, to facilitate the meeting. You have a flip chart writing is easier than talking over people via Zoom, and then use the company's facility as well and be very focused to do the good job. So that's what I can share about no really remote or on-site doesn't impact the ability for you to get promoted, but you need to be respectful to the company's guidelines.
Thank you so much for your sharing. I'm sure many people here will be, here on the expectation as well as being more respectful to the company for what you shared today. So I think we have closed the 2 sections that about sharing how to navigate the corporate environment and how to communicate more effectively. So moving on to the last session, but also the most important session to all of this, I would say, is how we can seize opportunities within corporate setting. So let's start for good on planning the corporate letters, which is familiar to many people here, and I'm sure many people will be very interested in hearing more about. Jesse, as a HR director, how do you assess what qualities of people to be promoted? And do you see any key indicators that people can already be promoted by not just asking, but not just seizing on promotion?
Yeah, so I think I just share a little bit of kind of experience why we chose the person that we wanted to promote. So talking about, let's say, if promoting someone into a managerial position where you need to have people responsibility, the motivation is very important. We need to assess the motivation of the person because Katie can say, or I don't know, Katie, you also managing the team. Managing people is not easy. It's not all rosy. Being responsible for someone else's performance, behavior is not easy all the time. But if you are motivated, you would be able to do it. And someone being motivated is very easy to recognize from, let's say, from HR or from manager point of view. We will see someone already genuinely want to help others, want to step up when they need them to step up, do things that is needed to be done. They are not choosy, they are not pushing things away. And of course, they need to have the leadership quality as well. The leadership quality is not only motivating people, pleasing people, making people happy, but managing performance is very important as well. And I know that based on my experience, a lot of managers are not very good at managing behaviors or performance or have a difficult conversations with their employees. If they have a genuine interest in the other people they will find motivation to go through that difficult situation because that is for the good of the other person. The other thing is also, does the person think bigger than themselves? Does the person think for the company rather than only themselves? So do they have the business acumen to understand the bigger picture of life with the company's strategy and whatnot? So, and basically someone who is ready to do that, usually they have already manifesting some kind of praise already. They always step up, they always raise their hands, they always be there for people, and sometimes people already come to them naturally to ask for their help already. So it's those are the things that we notice when we pick someone to promote when the opportunity comes.
Thank you so much for sharing. I smile because I think people come to me, so hopefully that's one good part to promotion. And yeah, please take note on these. I'm sure it will be helpful for all the audience here in 1 or 2 years from your career from now. Thank you so much, Nancy, again. Katie, we would love to hear your perspective too. What qualities do you look for in employing or team members? Because I know you're going to be now, so I would say a big voice in the design and getting more.
Sure. Yes, I think Jesse hit it spot on. You know, I think attitude is very important. That's probably number one in my thinking, right? So having the eagerness to learn, having the right attitude, a positive attitude when you're asked to do something is very important. I also think that having the people skills, which I think Jesse also touched upon briefly as well, right? Being able to navigate the different behaviors and different perspectives of others is crucial. I also think that having the project management skills, technical skills is very important. And lastly, having any required licensing is important. So, you know, in certain positions, you can't move up unless you have a certain type of license. So those are all key things that we look for. As a director, I also help to hire folks on teams as well. And so those are the attributes that we look for within a potential employee.
Thank you so much for sharing. We have the perspective from a managerial standpoint, and I'm sure many of you here may feel relevant. Christian also will be a individual control, because I know many people in the tech industry, they become a staff engineer, so they are more on a very technical and I would say not so people side of things. So I have a question from you, and can you first start with answering what does promotion look like for individual contributor like you, and how do you check yourself on that path?
Yeah, just adding a context here, in most of the big tech, there are two tracks. One is IC track, and the other is management track. And they are all equivalent. That means like you can progress in your career there. And the IC track, IC level, it means the level, the same for the same level, they have the same organization, and they also have the same powers of decision making. So that one thing from the other companies. And you can, as an IC, you can progress as high as like a VP, or they even an IC reporting directly to CEO. So that is sort of context there. For promotion, it depends on the level. So each level in Mainland it has very clear guidelines like also 3, 4. And promotion in Mainland and other big tech companies, as I know, is a lag. That means you need to perform at the next level before you can be promoted. And that's very important. Usually people need to show like real constant behaviors and performance and results in order to meet the next level requirement before the promotion. And for the seniors and below, it's more formal. That means it's what you need to take, what you need to learn, and what skills you need to acquire in order to get promoted to seniors. But other than that, staff in the whole is popular. And everyone has a different story when they for me, when I got promoted to staff, it's mainly because I building the team set the direction for the team and building those teams technically and also that we motion with every story initially for more like a technical or infrastructure organization they will migrate. Get the other expertise in very niche areas that people will start.
Very interesting. I think this is very different from the normal promotion path that we have seen. So thank you for sharing. You mentioned that even though you are an individual contributor, you have experience managing team. And I'm sure even like in a very technical space, people will still get a sense from a technical standpoint, people knowledge point of view, to assign more of a project management or tech lead role to your junior members. So can you share some of that thoughts or qualities on how you can see if, for example, a junior member of the team may be ready for the next step in their career, having this project management role or more of a technical role?
Yeah, I think the most simple thing that I usually look at is the past performance and the attitude. The behavior. When I worry with people for a couple of months or a couple of years, I usually understand more about people, and it's very mostly like based on the past performance, how people rely on the how the process that that's like person agent. Then there are also like also working with management right? To see if everyone is more ready to take a bigger role. How we make the decision together.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. We have talked about how we can leverage from our own standpoint and helping to move forward in your career path. So, but I know there will be more than that, not just us employees can decide. So let's talk a little bit about mentorship and how the company can foster that. Anyone can take this forward. What is mentorship means to you when you work in receiving and in the receiving end or in the giving end? Because I'm sure as you are progressing your career, you have been in a position before, and maybe it's a mentor position for now.
Yeah, I can start from HR point of view. Yeah, I didn't have a official mentee or mentor relationship with anyone before in my career, but unofficially, of course, I do a lot. But from HR point of view, we do provide some mentoring program in the company where we match mentee and mentors together, and I encourage everyone to take really, be it your mentor or mentee, you benefit from the program a lot. So if you are seeking for a mentor in your career, which I strongly recommend, of course, you need to first need to understand what you want to do, your goals. You have to know exactly what your goals are, and then also thinking about what would it take to achieve those goals first, and then you will know who would be the best mentor for you to achieve those goals. And when you imagine, okay, these kind of people, a person will be my best mentor, of course, reach out to them. Reach out to them via companies or even via your own network as well. But I must say in the US, one thing that helps you a lot is referral. If you can find, let's say, if you know Mr. ABC from someone, find a mutual contact between the two of you and then get the referral from them. When you talk to them, really be genuine interest on what they do, what you want to achieve from them, and of course also share with them as well, why you are worth their time and attention. Because someone who gives you the time, usually they will expect something not directly from you to them, but maybe from you to someone else in the future, like pay it forward. So I think having your pitch when you approach your mentor is very important as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. To add, I think referrals can come in many forms. It can be online, reaching out to people, but it can also be like this event, where you have an opportunity to meet others and network with them on site. So people share.
Sure. So as Jesse mentioned, it sounds like there's a program that exists at her company, and there is one as well at PwC. There are a lot of mentor-mentee programs that exist where you're able to match with those that you think have similar interests to you. I will say it's really important to have somebody that can be your mentor, although it is difficult to find. So, as Jesse mentioned, it's important to understand what goals it is that you have and what you're trying to achieve in order to find an appropriate match for yourself. I think that there's a benefit to both, and so being a mentor is really important because you serve as a role model for that individual. You are the person that they're going to reach out to in order to see, hey, this is what I'm experimenting, can I have your feedback on it? And that mentor has gone through these experiences and they have a lot that they can share with you. So it's important for you to be receptive of any feedback that they have. Also, the other side, right? Being a mentee for somebody, I think is just as important. And so at PwC, there are programs out there, as I mentioned, that's just maybe within the industry. But then there's also other subgroups that maybe relate to all females or all males, right? And so there are different challenges that a woman might go through versus a man. So there are subgroups there. So, when you join a firm, definitely ask about this. We can be your go-to and answering any questions or helping you work through any challenges that you might be going through. I think having a relationship with somebody that you can refer back to and rely on is really in order to guide you to the future of your career.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think, of course, leveraging one's company resources would be the very good first step. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, so from my experience, rather than also like having mentors, mentorship programs, it's very much stressful. But so the main motive for me is the way I think the benefits of that is we need to be very proactive to really find out what is needed from the other person and get them about that. Otherwise, I can't really find out. And this was very difficult, especially like below seniors. It's very clear, everyone has very clear path on how to progress into senior position. But all of that is very different. Everyone have different stories. So once you want to get a more like a higher position to progress above seniors, then you need to be more understand on what is your characteristics and who are the people that can help you to learn and have skills and fit more background so you need to more on purpose.
Thank you so much for your sharing. I think that is very specific.
Yeah, I want to add as well, having a mentor not only guide you or they can share with you their knowledge, their experience, but also open you up for a lot of opportunities as well. So yeah, and again, even though we have a program, mentoring program, but I think take it in your own hands is most important.
Absolutely. I think always being proactive and reaching out to different people, different opportunities would be very beneficial. Thank you so much for all the amazing insight. And as we know, we are approaching the end, so being able to speak more about the broader politics would be very beneficial, especially as given you may know there are a lot of mass layoffs out there and a lot of PIP. So I would just have the last general questions for all three panelists here. What piece of advice would you give to any students or young professional in this current situation who are concerned about their job security?
I would say invest in yourself, and that could be, a new skill, learning a new skill, taking a new course. You are your own, cheerleader, right? You want to be motivated. I said this in the beginning, always stay motivated, don't stay stagnant, right? Keep moving forward. Creating that brand for yourself and maintaining it is very important. Being consistent with the reputation. Says a lot. We talk a lot about referrals and mentorships. Finding that individual to help you out and exchange knowledge is really important. So I think that would be my key advice, is just to make sure you guys are investing in yourself.
I think my advice would be is being resilient. I think that's very important. For me, in the past 10 years, I never be successful the first time. I failed so many times. So, when I applied to grad school in the US, I failed. First year I failed, and in the second year I also applied for scholarship. I failed, and then I got later the next time, the third time I got scholarship. And then even like in grad school, I submit papers and I got rejected in the very first time. Also the same thing at job application, got a lot of rejections. And when promotion, none of my promotion I got the very first time. So resilience, I think, is the most important thing. And usually I try to identify my goals, and I'm very hard and creative to get that, no matter what I do. So I think that's very important, and it's will help you to overcome.
Yeah, again, I will share from the HR point of view. So PIP is actually something that manager and myself really hate to do. We don't like to do that at all because it's time consuming, it's very distracting for the manager as well. So first of all, my advice is try your best to avoid it. Don't work towards it. Try your very best to avoid it. So from the HR perspective, when an employee is not performing up to expectation, the managers are required to give them the feedback as and when it occurs. That is requirement from the corporate to the managers. But I know that some managers, they don't give feedback, like I mentioned before. If your managers are someone, and I think you feel it, right? If you are not doing well, you are doing well, you feel it. If you feel like you are not doing well, take the initiative to ask the feedback from your managers if they don't. And again, before we implement a PIP, we have to ask the managers to try multiple times, at least 2 to 3 times, giving the feedback, giving the support, giving the guidance on how the person can correct their performance through verbal feedback, written feedback. And if everything failed, then of course we can implement a PIP. And again, sometimes people just say, okay, PIP means you are already 1 foot outside the door. No, the answer is no, because in my experience, sometimes PIP would turn the people as well, because they already give the feedback, but the individual didn't take it seriously. So we need to say, okay, sit down, document everything, and then the person, hey, actually things get serious, and then they turn. So really, before you think about all of these, I just want to give you a feedback on what is a PIP mean in the company, the other side of the table, right? But from your employee perspective, like I said, being a valued employee, being, proactive in your career, upskill yourself, investing in yourself, you just need to focus on the positive thing, focus on doing well rather than focus on losing your job.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think this will be really helpful from both standpoint and understand the company's promotion policy in terms of international law as well. So now we open the floor for our audience here for questions that anyone panelists are even to answer. Yes.
First, I want to thank all 3 of you for all the insights and all the advice that you share. It really helps me as someone, like a young professional. I do have a question a little bit more on the other side of improving yourself. So I find myself that I do want to do more, and I do more. But then how do you, what advice would you have for someone like me who is struggling to find the balance between, wanting to do more, actually doing more, improving on myself, and understanding that
there are only 24 hours in a day, and there are other things I need to do. So I don't have like a family right now, so it's working for me right now. I can do more, and I can find time to like do more than I'm expected. But how is it? Like, I don't think it's gonna be sustainable, for a long term if I keep working like that, and especially with remote work. I do find myself that on the days that I don't go to the office, I tend to log off a little later, and it becomes like later and later. So, what advice do you have on that side of like understanding that sometimes you don't have to do as much as you think you do? Just like how to convince yourself that.
I can take that. That's a great question. So I think showing that you're eager and willing to help is very important. But I also think that knowing when to say no is very important as well, equally as important. And so I think as an overachiever, you're always wanting to help and help and help. I think what recommendation I would have is take a look at the opportunities that you're given and how is that going to benefit you in the future. And only be selective, right? Be selective with what you choose to take on. Don't say yes to everything. I think that in the past, like that was something that I always had to try to do. I would always say yes, yes, and so you end up becoming the person that people will give you work all the time. But take a step back and say, okay, well, this is what I have on my plate. How much more can I handle, right? In terms of the days, how many hours are in each day, and does that opportunity help grow me personally, professionally? If it doesn't, and it's just like a minuscule task, okay, and you don't have availability, don't be worried about saying no. Like I think allowing yourself to say no is the first step, and feeling like, okay, I can still make an impact and be the person that somebody reaches out to first, but also know that, hey, I might say no, right? And that's fine too. In terms of you saying that when you're working from home, you find yourself working later and later, that is a common thing, right? Working from home, you end up blurring the lines that I talk about. And so knowing when to shut off is very important, sticking with it, and again, communicating to your team. So I would say being comfortable with saying no, being selective in what you choose, because whatever opportunities you're taking should be helping you in your development. You're not getting something.
Yeah, I feel like very resonates to me because when I was in the first few years in Meta, I worked very hard. And I wonder like how can I keep continue doing this when I progress in my career that will have higher expectations, and also like when I have kids that we I have to spend half of my kids, how can I do that? So basically, I think the main thing is trying to improve your efficiencies. I try to look at every single thing, every single aspect of my workflow. How can I do it faster, with less time? How can I like write out faster documents, or even codings, or even doing interviews? So I try to like improve the efficiency so that we can spend less time with more output. So that's the one thing. The other thing is also important is to find the right thing to do, because the more when you get into the company, you get to understand what the team values and company value, and then trying to identify and prioritize the things that have the highest impact and ROIs. So basically, I think at the high level, you need to improve the efficiency because your time will be less, your expectations will just get higher and higher. So that's the only thing that you can go over that.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for you guys for delivering like all their advices and also lessons and everything. So I have a question for Mr. King. Like working as a staff machine learning engineer, and also you lead the team. You have spearheaded the team. I have two questions for you. The first thing, how you gonna deal with ambiguous or like isolated tasks? And the second thing is what is your leadership style management?
Yeah, so the first question, how to deal with ambiguities, I think that is a very important characteristic in order behaviors in order to get promoted to staff. You need to be open to ambiguities. And I think the one thing is for me is, and I think you always have to have from other people. Usually, like when we do the decisions, I'm not the only the single decision makers, and I always have like management, product managers, and other cross-functional folks so that really I'm sitting out and have feedback from others, and I think it's very really seeking feedback from other people, and also still need to be like decisive in some situations so that other people around you will feel that they also feel, you might feel the ambiguity, but people who work with you should very clear about the direction to go, and everyone needs to have in on the same page and same direction. So communication would happen. I think I don't see a shortcut point for people to reduce ambiguity. You have to just face with that, make sure that other people around you don't get ambiguous when working on that. And in the same question, I'm still in IC, so I have less of management style. But in way that is very stressful is even like staff engineers, people in my peers doesn't know that I'm staff engineer. So the level are hit, even like the people who want to, but people still like guess. So for me, is I don't have authorities of like asking people to do things, but then I need to learn how to convince people and how to work and understand motivations in order to have people to work together with me and complete projects. I don't know if that directly answers your question, but this economic perspective I see is
Hi, I have a question. Actually, I have two questions for Jesse and Katie. So my question number one is, as we advance in our career, we work with senior and company leadership, how can we make our voice impactful to contribute to the success of the company? And question number two, if we want to apply for senior or manager position, how can we strategically sell ourselves to stand out when we have to face with other talented candidates? Thank you.
Can you speak louder? Because I find the first question so
Okay, sure. So my first question, as we advance in our career, we will have to work with senior and company leadership. How can we step out of our comfort zone to make our voice impactful to discussion, to the company strategy, to contribute to the company? We can move further in the correct level.
So I think Katie can definitely contribute to this question as well. But I believe that your question was, how can you step out of your comfort zone to be on the same table with the senior management and prove to them that you are also contributing to the table, right? So actually, this is exactly what I went through, because right now most of my time are sitting on the really the C level of the company. First of all, I think I had the nervousness when I started the role, no doubt, and I won't lie as well that I come in very comfortable. But what made me feel, push myself out is because I know that I have values, I have things to contribute. So they are business leaders, I'm the HR leader. Even though my level right now, director level, they are senior vice president level, I don't feel myself like less than them. So I have to think like this before I step on the table for discussion. So feel that confidence in you and know where your values and bring that to table. And I think the really setting the mindset is extremely important because how you think of yourself, you will do and they will think of yourself as well. So that's what I can share.
So I'm very happy that you asked that question. So this brings me back to when I started out in the asset management space. So I don't know if many of you know, but the asset management space is predominantly male, top heavy. So the C levels are all typically males. And so here I am as a female minority, and going into meetings, there were things, that I needed to do each time to make sure that I was being heard and that my opinions were being received equally. And so the things that I would do would be every time I interacted with anybody or came to a meeting, I always came prepared. I made sure that I was speaking clearly, I was being assertive, I was, the message I was trying to convey was clear as well. And in doing so, I would do this consistently. I was able to gain the respect of others within the field. And so I think perhaps those are a few tips that I would share with you is, when you're going about wanting to be heard, you just need to make sure that you're being confident in your responses and that you're prepared and ready for the interactions that you might have. In terms of your second question, I'm hoping that you can repeat that because I didn't hear the second piece.
So the second question is how can we effectively sell ourselves when we want to apply for senior or manager positions?
Okay. So yeah, and I think maybe my response had covered a little bit about that, but just making sure that you guys are presenting yourself consistently and even being able to create your own brand, which is something I alluded to before, is really important because if you become that person that is the go-to, you'll be that point of contact that everybody reaches out to if they have any questions. And so having that recognition from leadership is something that they're like, oh, I know to reach out to XYZ because she has that technical knowledge. And so being the go-to is important and embracing in your brand is equally as important, I would say.
So I think Katie addressed if you apply for internal position. Now, if you are going out to apply for a senior manager position and be in the interview, no one knows you yet. So I would suggest, because I'm on the interviewer side all the time, when I assess someone for the senior manager level position, I would listen to what they have to share. If they share with me mostly about what they do, or what they do for the other people, or what they lead other people to do. So I would pay a lot more attention into their leadership qualities through the thing they share. Because I would not ask questions like, okay, share with me your leadership or things like that. I would focus on how you share with me about your work, about your achievement. If your achievement is what you did and then was a sole contributor, or your achievement is mostly through teams, right? And then, of course, that will allude to me that this person is ready or is really a good people leader that can lead and can achieve more than what they can achieve on their own.
Next question.
I just want to say thank you for coming and sharing your experience with us. My question is, we see the company in terms of getting promotions, my boss seems to recognize my hard work, but how do I stand out and impress his boss and his boss's boss? And in terms of how do I stand out in the company and getting noticed by the high management?
I can take this person, I think, Kian, because you have already gone through promotion from the specialist level, right? Katie has been talking about personal branding. So personal branding is what you want people to see you as, what you stand for, who you want to be, and consistently live up to it, enforcing it. So, and if you do it already, how do you bring your story, you bring yourself outside of your immediate team? There are a few things that I see people can do is, networking outside of your immediate team. So networking can be social event, can be company-wide event that you raise your hand to be part of, to showcase your skill, and also, at meetings, I guess that you have to have meetings with cross-team, with cross-region. Even if you are in a software engineer, sometimes you have integration meeting or whatever, product development meeting. Speak up, ask questions, right? And if you have the opportunity to, or even if you come on site, you walk past someone, introduce yourself. These are the few things that you can do to bring yourself and to promote yourself in a good way. Yeah.
Yes, so I think that Jesse nailed it, right? So I think that being involved in projects across different industries could be helpful, as well as helping out to make your voice known. As Jesse said, in meetings, be the one to speak up, ask questions, because if you're just in a meeting with 100 other people and you stay quiet, your voice isn't really heard. So I think that asking questions and making yourself heard is important, so that those that might be in a different industry will be like, oh, that was a great question from XYZ, I want to follow up with them. And so just having your reputation also speaks loudly. So, if you have done very well in your current field, you're probably going to be known around the company within other industries as well, within other lines of services. Having those that see you as the go-to, or the person that has gained their respect, it kind of like the voice travels, right? Like rumors travel, knowing about people travel. So I think if one person knows how great of work you do, you're provided with more opportunities, because they know that you're a person that they can rely on.
I can call a little bit from the IC perspective. I think that to point out two main things. One is the performance, basically how in the past, how can you demonstrate yourself that you can provide value for the teams, value for the companies. I think that is the most important thing. Basically, just trying to improve yourself so that the thing that you are doing is really valuable and the teams really need you. And then the second thing is about communications, because every company is different, and we need to try to understand different communication channels in your companies, and who are the decision makers in the promotions, and that would help a lot. For example, like in Meta, especially for IC, you need a coach for more seniors IC in order to, as part of the promotion package. So you need to find a way to so that your work in the company be able to heard not only by the management but also by others in the IC. So you either have to do that, or if you have a good managers, they might help you to navigate that. But that's something that everyone needs to really understand what the company's communication channels and how things work in order to.
I think we can take one last question.
Hi. So first, thank you all for your great sharing. So yeah, I have a question specifically for Jesse. You did mention that back in 2008, you decided to go back to school and pursue your higher education, which was during the economic crisis. So can you share with us a little bit about how did you navigate your career search as well as fulfilling your higher education purpose back then? And is there any advice or anything that you would do differently if you were in the same shoes, but in 2024 market?
Yeah, so why I wanted to go back to school, because I wanted to have another career. Because like I mentioned before, I went back to school, my roles was really like marketing assistant, supporting role to marketing managers and things like that. So I wanted to do something else. And honestly, back then, I was forced to do so as well, because I went to Singapore And you know, the degree I had as an English degree in Vietnam just means almost nothing for Singapore because English is something they use on a daily basis. So, and what helped me to really got into the job very quickly through the job search is like you really need to be focused on what you want to do. You know exactly what you want to do and tailor your resume toward that. And imagine, let's say, if you are applying for a position, you just need, and sometimes you just need to customize your resume into different roles as well, and see the keywords in that job description, and then you are not telling lies about something you cannot do, but at least, you know, help the recruiter, have someone who read your resume, understand your background and how to relate your background, how to relate your skills back to the job description. Now, in the interview, I feel like I said, really be confident is very important as well. Be prepared, be confident, learning about the company who you are applying for is extremely important, and share with them what you can do. Rather than, you know, to come in and ask a lot about what the company do for you or things like that. Just focus on what you can bring to the table, what values you can bring to them. And then when you've proven your value, honestly, you have very strong bargaining power if you would like to ask for different things. But during the interview, I would think focus on what you want to bring to the table. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your questions or anything that I didn't touch.
I want to please give you a round of applause to our panelists and our moderator. So we would like to take a photo with everyone here in the hall while we're taking a photo with our panelists, speakers, and moderators together. So I want please stay for a few seconds. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, you
Anyone, if you guys want to take picture with us.
Okay, now it's time. Everyone please come to stage and we're going to take a photo all together. Please, don't be shy, just come to stage. We're going to take it as for our memory. Thank you so much for coming to our panel discussion and listening to our panelists and
That was
learning
me,
along.
but you just have to.
Yeah, I know. It's so frustrating to be like that, to survive.
Everyone please, you can go ahead. It's gonna, we have more space behind, so. That's just,
You guys can do. For those who are very confident in the high, you can go up there. And stand in the back. Okay. For those who's not that confident, you can hang around here. Hang around here. The front and come here. Or next to me. Yeah.
yeah, we can eat out, so we have one more line here.
yeah. Can we come over here as well, like the edge?
You can do that too.
I need someone.
Okay, so we're gonna move a little bit over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah. Can you? This line.
Picture time, everyone.
Bắt đưa điện thoại.
Okay.
Bạn anh ơi, cùng mình xích ở đây xích tại vì dính cái cổ. Không, mình xích qua bên đây một xíu để chừa một cái khoảng cách. Dạ rồi, Diễm Nguyên nhiên.
Cho hai bạn nhỏ đi.
1, 2, 3, chụp nha. Rồi, 1, 2, 3, another pose.
Come, guys.
Yeah.
And
Guys, come with the picture. Bi, mau lên. Bi, mau, hurry up.